I am that I am. Master Anna of magical service. Or you can call me Master John. I am indeed John's soul. But I like to be called by a feminine name. Because you see, soul, it's all relative, but in relation to the human, soul is much more feminine than the human is, no matter what kind of body you are in. So John calls me Master Anna to signify that, he and I are one unified being. Happy New Year, dear friend. We are recording this on December 28th, and it will be released on January 1, 2024. So Happy New Year. 2024. Boils down to 8. If you add them all together, it is an 8-year. Year of mastery. Lots of people have lots of different ways of explaining the numbers, and it doesn't matter. But for us, this is the year of mastery. 2023, as we said in our last message, a 7-year, a year of divinity. 2023 was the year that, the divine and the human were finally joined back together. There was never a real separation between them, but there was an illusion created of separation for very good reasons. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an accident. So let's begin at the end of this message. Welcome home. Welcome home, dear friend. And now, let's take a little journey. To understand why that means so much. So we ask you to feel within you. The human wants to feel back in time, but no, feel deep within. To that point in your experience where you became aware of yourself and you asked yourself that question, who am I? You, at that point, were pure awareness. Consciousness, you call it. That's all you were. There was no thing. There was no space. There was no time. There was just you. just your awareness. There was no energy. There was no body. Even a light body or an energy body. There was just awareness. Because that's what you are at your core. Pure, simple awareness. All right, now you feel like so much more. But at this point, we are deliberate in using that word, this point, because it was not in the past. It is now. At this point, you asked yourself, who am I? And in that instant, because the very nature of a sovereign creator is that a question cannot exist without an answer. So in that very instant, the answer popped up in front of you. Even popped up is not accurate, but we have to speak this in human words, which are all about human illusions. So we'll go with it. The answer popped up in front of you. Actually popped up within you. In the form of a mirror image, you could say. Again, we are so limited by human words and concepts. The answer popped up. And you found yourself looking at you. You could say that was the first duality, the first split. In a sense, you could say the first experience of masculine and feminine. And this seemingly other part of you, the masculine part, you could say, looked in your eyes and said, I am going to go out and find out who I am, who we are together. And he went out. Actually, he went in, because all of this happened. You didn't know it then. You didn't know it along the way, but now we know that all of this happened within your own imagination. This part of you went out. It created because you are a sovereign creator. Went out and it created universes and galaxies. And had all of these experiences. You became aware of others. You couldn't directly interact with them, but you could hear their song. And so, within your own energies, you created an avatar that reflected them. they created an avatar that reflected you so that you could interact, much like your modern computer games. The game runs on your own computer, but it has avatars in it that reflect those other players all around the world. So you went out and you had all of these experiences. You fought battles. You created universes. Until everything began to slow down. And you stepped back a little, you and the others. And then you had this very complex thing that you call mass consciousness. It's like your human internet. It's a communication network where you could play this game with each other. And it began to become so intense that it began to slow down. You stepped back and said, we need to go deeper. We need to find out how all this works. And so you created this planet. You call it Earth. Way off in a far corner of a small universe. Oh yes, one of many universes you've created and that you are active within. Not as human, but as what you call an angel. So you created this planet. You infused it with life. One of you, whom you call Gaia, embodied herself in it. And became the steward of that life. And then you came to Earth and you compressed yourself down and down and down and down until you could finally embody yourself in these creatures that you call animals. You gradually learned how to exist in that difficult, dense environment. But it was, so real. Eventually you settled on a particular kind of body. And you dove into playing your game with the others here in this slowed down environment, this visceral environment that felt so real. You could come and play a particular game. You replayed so many games from the past that you didn't understand. You fought battles with each other. You made love. You discovered love here on Earth. You had all this experience. Many, many lifetimes you've been here. Now, here you are. If you are resonating with these messages, then you have come full circle. You have discovered the answer to that grand question. Now, you might not understand it yet in the human mind, but you, your soul, does understand it. You feel it, even if you can't articulate it yet. And here you are, at the end of this journey. I am that I am. In the English language, that sentence doesn't quite work. And yet, it's the closest we have. I am all that I am. I am even all that I am not. I simply am. And here you are. So, come back now to this moment of asking that question. You see in front of you this facet of you going off to discover yourself. And now, shift your perspective slightly. You, the one who went off, here you are, coming back. You see this grand being in front of you. It's your soul, it's your divinity, it's your very essence. Oh, she's so beautiful. She's not grander than you. She is you. She's opening. She's opening her arms to you. Inviting you to approach. Part of you is afraid. You feel you've been through so much. You felt like you got so much of it wrong. Like you failed so many times. But look in her eyes now. Feel her welcome. Feel the gift of experience that you bring to her. Feel as she welcomes you home. Feel as you allow her to embrace you. Allow yourself to embrace her. This is the being you have always longed for, that you have always searched for. You thought it was a soulmate you were searching for. It was actually your own soul. Feel her. Now, feel as she welcomes you. Feel as you begin to blend back together Feel as she receives the gifts that you bring. So many gifts. Gifts of experience. Gifts of knowledge. Gifts indeed of love. You taught her love. And there was a point where you couldn't feel her for a while because, well, she had to take that love and go deep inside with it and learn how to make it her own, your own. You call it self-love. You thought it was the human's responsibility. But no. The human's responsibility was simply to open up to it. It is your soul that turned love into self-love. And now feel that love as she welcomes you home. As you and she blend back together. Become one once again. One being, one sovereign, glorious being. So in love with all of its creations, with all of its experience, with all of its knowing. That is you now, dear friend. That is why we say, welcome home. You see, you brought this possibility to Earth. Because as you come home to your soul, and your soul indeed comes home to you, right here, in this human, what you call reality, it's still you. It's your imagination, every bit of it. As you blend together, you're not going to disappear from this reality. No, she comes here to join you. Even as you join her in all those other realms. And even beyond the realms, back in this moment of pure consciousness. You exist there now. You always have, but now you know it. Now you are one blended being. The human may not feel that immediately, but we know you've been feeling some of it. As you go forward into this year of mastery, you're going to be feeling more and more of it. You are home. Let that in. Be home. Feel your soul looking through your eyes, experiencing this life with you. Allow yourself to look through your soul's eyes and your soul's perspective. you are already finding that this is actually a rather confusing experience for the human. Because you're finding that nothing works the way it used to. The other day, John was making the fire in the morning. The house they live in is heated with a wood stove. He got up in the morning and he laid the fire, kindling and the wood and everything, lit it up. He was sitting there watching through the glass door. The fire was becoming quite vigorous. He was starting to slowly close down the air vent to keep it from all burning up at once. And suddenly, poof, the fire was gone. All the flames were just gone. What was left of the kindling, the bottom side of the wood was still glowing. Still lots of heat. Flames were just gone in an instant. Like some big blast of wind had blown them out. There was no physical reason. There was no physical way that much air could have gotten in there. It didn't make any sense, and John looked at it and he shook his head and what happened? He didn't understand at all. It seemed impossible for the flames to just go out just like that. An instant. After a minute or two, he shook his head again and he took his lighter and stuck it in through the air vent and snapped it, and instantly the flames were back. Just as vigorous as before. And he just shook his head. He said, I don't understand. John has a very intuitive understanding of physical things, of how things work and blend and flow. And it just didn't make any sense to him. So he went about his day, thought about it several times, like, what could have caused that? And the next morning, he made the fire again, lit it up, sitting there watching it through the glass door. I was thinking, what could have made that happen? And I said to him, do you remember that in that same instant you coughed? And he was like, yeah, kind of. But it was just a little cough, and there's no way it could have pushed that much air into the fire. It's just no way. And I said, indeed, that's true. But how many coughs do you suppose are triggered by energy, or are simply movements of energy? He thought about that. He said, oh, an energy blast from me put out that fire. I said, indeed so. Now, you keep wondering if you're learning how to create. Well, look how powerful you are. You put out that fire with just a little energy cough. And John realized that, indeed, reality is changing. You are no longer bound by the laws of physics. You can change them. They are your creation. You can change them. But the other thing John realized is you can't do that from here, from your head. It simply doesn't work. You could think about coughing energy into the fire all day long and it's not going to do anything. But in the right moment, when I'm there, it can put a big fire out. This is the kind of thing you're going to be discovering in this new year. Because as a master, the laws simply don't apply to you. Now, you the human, you try to figure that out. And you go, how do I make it work? I should be able to just reach in my pocket and take out some money. Or I should be able to heal the tooth that hurts. Or whatever other issues are going on in my body. But it doesn't quite work that way. Yes, indeed, you can and you will. Those are the things you're going to be discovering this year. But it doesn't work the way the human mind wants it to. And that's for your own safety as much as anything else. But you and your soul are blended together now. And together, in the full consciousness of all that you are going to be discovering an entirely new experience of reality. Now, let's say that the first way, John. You are going to be discovering an entirely new reality. Now, you can still interact with the old reality, play with it, but more and more, you're already finding that it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. You're going to discover that more and more this year. Until you come back home. Now, you are home, but the human forgets, goes and runs off, tries to do it all itself, and then it remembers and comes back, and each time happens a little faster. The human comes back. Says, okay, soul, let's do this together. Show me. Then you move forward into the discovery of creation instead of the manipulation of creation. Oh, it's going to be an exciting year. It's going to be a chaotic year. Especially for those who don't understand what's happening. I ask you, as you feel the chaos, come back home. Feel this moment of home. This moment which contains every other moment you have ever experienced. Feel it. Come back to it. Feel this incredible being that is your soul. Allow her to hold you, to love you, to experience life with you. She hasn't been able to do that before because there had to be this veil between you. There had to be something to keep you feeling separate from your soul so that you could have these experiences. She was always there. She was able to take those experiences and distill the wisdom from them. But she was never able to be present in them. And now she can. She's so excited about that. Your soul is so thrilled and excited to be in this life with you now. So remember her. Remember she's here. She is you. You are her. You can still play the human game. Look through those human eyes at all the things they don't see. Actually, your eyes see all kinds of things that you don't see. That those impulses come in on the optic nerves into your brain, and your mind goes, I'm not ready to see that. And it tunes it out. There's so much more to your reality than you know. And even that is changing now, because you are changing it. So your job right now, in this year of mastery, if you are willing, your job is to build that relationship with your soul. Talk to her. Talk to yourself as her. Oh, the human goes, I don't know how to do that. Yes, actually you do. You just imagine it and trust what you imagine. Yeah, you know when you're talking nonsense or imagining nonsense. You know. So, feel your soul. When your mind is worrying and getting a little crazy like human minds do, distracting you, you stop. Feel your soul. And then speak to your mind. Dear mind, thank you for everything you've done for me. You've done such an incredible and incredibly difficult job all this time. Now you can rest. Soul is here. And you can rest, dear mind. Don't fight your mind. Give it a hug. It's so tired. It's worked so hard to make this whole journey, this whole experience possible. Now it can rest. And you can talk to it as soul. Say, mind, rest now. You are safe. I am safe. Soul is here. In this year, it's not your job to figure it out. It's your job to allow the discovery as we discover together what it means to be a human divine. Welcome home, dear friend. And welcome to the year of mastery. Don't worry. you can't get it wrong. It's not your job to get it right. It's not a competition. It's not a test. It's a discovery. If it doesn't happen instantly, if you don't feel all these magical things happening instantly, that doesn't mean you're getting it wrong. It takes time because you created time so that you could spread the experience out in manageable pieces. You could simply leave the planet, become another dead ascended master. Oh, they're watching. They're watching. They're amazed at what's happening right now. We've gone way beyond where they went. And they're watching in amazement. So welcome home. Be home. There are no challenges at home. Real home. There's no challenges. There's no problems because everything takes care of itself. But there is love. Home within you. There's so much love now. Let the human feel it. Be home. When you see the problems in your life, smile and simply be home. And watch how they solve themselves. Many will solve themselves in ways that are different from what the human thinks they should because, well, it's all different now. And now you're ready for solutions rather than just problem solving. And so often the solution is something entirely different than what you saw in the problem. So be home. Rest, dear human. You've earned it. You deserve it. Allow yourself to rest. Nurture yourself. Give yourself warm baths if that feels nurturing to you. Give yourself food that you like. Take time to rest. Your soul is here now. And it was all your imagination to start with, including those problems. So now you can allow the imagination to change. Now you can allow the discovery of your own mastery, of your own real magic, of your own love. So, Happy New Year. Welcome home. And so it is.